Okay. Well, thank you again for joining the second Connect, Reflect, Learn session with Ronan Mac Domhnaill. And today we have Stephen Pitcher helping with the role of ritual, which I think we've all found as we are embarking on week 2 of this challenge, that these check-ins might be a little harder than we originally anticipated. So definitely learning some new habits myself. But with that, I'll hand it over to Ronan.
Thank you very much, Mindy. It's a pleasure to be here and joining you from Sydney this evening. And it does, as Michael said, it's a bit colder there where he's joining, and I know it's a little bit colder at the start of February back in Ireland. So as Mindy said, I will be, I guess, facilitating part of the session this evening, or this morning for you, and then handing to Stephen for the main part of the learn. So I'll be looking after connect and reflect. So in terms of context, like why are we here? Well, it's to support Ireland Together's focus on wellness in February and our 30-day challenge, a partnership between Ireland Together and Cred. And what are we trying to do in the 30-day challenge? Well, it's trying to help us all navigate this time, have a sense of connection, and then if it's appropriate, to support everyone to build strong habits. And today is essentially around connection, reflection, and learning. And before we get into the main part of today, I'd like everyone to just take a moment and think about when we can all travel again. Where in the world are you most excited to go and visit? It can be somewhere in Ireland, it can be somewhere overseas, it can be somewhere you've been to before, or it could be somewhere you're dying to get to for the first time. So take a moment and type your responses into the chat box. Straight away, we've got Cork, Italy.
Michael, you've no chance of getting to Cork. Once you leave Cork, you're not welcome back. You know that. They take it very personally down there.
We've got Malia saying Hawaii. We've got China.
Yeah.
I'm looking for Dingle, of course. That's where I want to go to. That's my mother's from. Tropical Island, Hawaii. Seamus got a big list there. So
got a big list.
So just take a moment to think about, where's it? Is it an adventure? Is it a connection? Is it just relaxation? What is it that's your sense of connection back to that place? So just take a moment, just in your own quiet time and reflection. And if you do want to type, but no pressure. Family from Seamus. Relaxation. Yeah, for me, it's definitely about connection, and connection from my family back to Ireland, back to our heritage family. Family and son, that's what we're all needing. I'm very lucky. My nickname is Chalky. Obviously, I'm normally very white, okay? So, but I've got a little bit of a colour going on, which I feel a bit of Irish guilt there. So, it only stays for a couple of months here. It'll be gone very soon. So, relaxation, son, and family. So, I think there's some common themes there around family, or like a bit of relaxation, the break, and there's some places that are very special to us. So, hopefully, it's not too long again before we're connecting and getting into those places. And so, to help us prepare for the session today, I'm going to just lead us through a very brief arrival exercise. So I invite you to make sure you feel comfortable and relaxed. If you want to make sure your feet are placed firmly on the ground, take a moment to connect with the earth. And if you want to close your eyes, we just invite everybody to turn their audio off. Just find a space that's comfortable for you. I'm just going to lead us through this very brief exercise. Breathe. Breathe again. Smile. Relax. Arrive. Where you are. Be natural and open to effortlessness, to being rather than doing. Drop everything. Let go. And arrive. Now I invite you to just think about, was there a particular word or words that resonated with you from that passage? Is there something you might be needing to do a little bit more of? Notice your breath. Has there been a bit of shallow breathing, or are you taking deep and deliberate breaths? Could perhaps you smile a bit more today? How are you showing up in your interactions with others? Do you feel relaxed in your body? Are you giving yourself permission to just meet yourself where you are today, in this moment? Do you think you're your natural self? Do things feel effortless to do or effortful? Just notice without judging yourself. Do you feel like you're a human being? Are you being yourself or a human doing? And if you were to be, how might you show up today? Is there anything you might need to let go of? Controlling the outcome of something, task, a project, or a situation. And do you feel like you have arrived in a session this morning? And given the fact that we are going to talk about ritual and the role of ritual, I'd like now to invite Stephen just to share a bit more about ritual before we go into the big learn section. Stephen, over to you.
Thanks, Ronan. Thanks for that. I might just throw up, if you let me just screen share, and just talk a little bit about what we're going to talk about later. So it's kind of just a tease. And what we're going to do is I just want to show you this and just ask you, can you all see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And just very briefly, what do you see there?
Leaves.
What springs to mind? Or
Autumn.
yeah, and what what's going on? What emotions does that draw out, or suggest, or trigger in you?
For me, it would be calm.
Yeah.
Playful.
Playful. Okay. And okay, anyone else?
Serene.
Change. Yeah.
Sorry?
Serene for me.
Serene, yeah. Okay. So what's happening there, is death, right? That's what's happening all. And we look at it differently, because actually at that moment, summer has finished, winter hasn't started. The autumn of all the leaves falling off hasn't, started. So it's still that beautiful bit between summer and, barrenness. And really that's what ritual is. Ritual is that liminal time, as they call it, between one thing and another. So it could be between your last meeting and your next task. It could be between being single and getting married. It could be between, leaving school and starting in college. It could be, big and small. But it's that ability almost to have a foot in both camps and to recognize both is what ritual helps us do, very simply. And the other way of looking at this, if you see, sorry, did that picture change?
Yeah.
So this is it happens to be the Native American medicine wheel, and all the indigenous communities use medicine wheels. We use them in Ireland, where we have Imbolc and Baltana and Lunasa and Samhain. And interestingly, the important dates in Ireland are what they call the cross-quarter days. So it's not really the solstice or the equinoxes, it's the bit in between, which are the liminal days. So Imbolc, which happens at the beginning of February, St. Bridget's Day, is neither winter nor spring, in the sense the flowers haven't quite arrived yet. So it's all these cross-quarter days, those feast days, if you like, they ask us to just stop, reflect on what had happened, and get ready for what's going to happen. Okay, so I'll hand back to Ronan in a minute, but what I want us to do just for a second is just take a breath, just get comfortable. This will just take 2 minutes. Just get comfortable and make a real effort just to, as we're breathing in and breathing out, just noticing the breath. And as we're breathing in, we're just breathing out what happened 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes ago. Whether we were having a shower, having breakfast, at a meeting, doing some work, homeschooling, we're just breathing all that out. We're recognizing it had its time, and its time is not now. So we're just breathing out any of the joy, the frustration, whatever we did, we're just letting it go as we breathe out. And as we let it go, we just breathe into now. As Ronan says, just the being, fully present, just the breath. And then we start to breathe in what's happening next. This meeting, this event. We don't know what will happen. So we breathe in our presence at it and our commitment to it. We start to notice how we're going to turn up for this event. Are we going to come to talk, to listen, to respect, to argue? How am I turning up? And we just notice that. We notice how we're turning up. Are we still homeschooling? We still having breakfast? Or are we here now? And how are we being while we're here? And we breathe into that. Okay, as we come back into the room, thanks for that. We'll talk about that in a minute, but now we just go back and catch up with the Cred challenge, and Ronan no doubt will share some info, and then we talk about what we just did there.
Brilliant, Stephen. Thank you very much. I'm feeling very present, and also I want to show up. So hopefully everyone, you've all got a chance to notice how you want to show up and what you want to bring to the conversation today. So just going to go back and take a moment now to check in individually. And if you have your mobile app handy, Cred mobile app, we invite you to take it out now. And if you're not using the app, just take a moment to notice or write it down on a sheet of paper. And the first part, as Stephen said, is noticing. Noticing without judging. No should, not saying how you should be feeling or your emotions or how your energy levels are. What energy level describes how you're experiencing this time. It's now 20 past 10 in the morning, 20 past 11 if you're in Germany. Take a moment to notice. And what word, a combination of words, describe how you feel at this point in time? You can choose 1, 2, or 3 of the words. I want you to double click into some of these. We often think about, we can't use good, bad, okay, or busy. A group of my friends started a 30-day challenge back in Ireland, and I asked, could I put the word grand in? We talked about this last week, so we can't use the word grand. And bearing in mind that some conflicting, or potentially what you perceive to be conflicting emotions can coexist. There's no negative or positive emotions, there's just emotions. And what's top of mind for you? Just take a moment to think about, to bring awareness to the prefrontal cortex part of your brain. What are the thoughts that are bubbling along? Just take a moment to notice your thoughts and record them in whatever way is best for you. Just give you a couple of seconds in silence. What I'm going to do now is share our live dashboard. And you may notice that it looks a bit updated, some new features on here. I'm just going to refresh based on what you've all shared. The dashboards are just updating dynamically. And to reiterate, your information stays private to you. This is summarized. This is not tied back to any individual. We're seeing in real time. Okay, so we're noticing this is a total energy since we started across the group. And this is the energy levels within this group of people using the app. Some of you are here today and some maybe have been checking in already. So definitely over the 50% in green. And these are the top 3 feelings the group have been recording over the last week, or 8 days of the challenge. Calm, grateful, and happy. But obviously calm being the predominant one here. Grateful, 31%. And then happy. And what we'll then notice in this last 24 hours, so the calmness here, grateful, and curious, one of our favorite words. That's great. If you recorded curious, it's fantastic. I think we all love a bit of welcome curiosity. If you bring curiosity to the group, to this conversation today, I'm definitely curious to hear what more Stephen has to share in a couple of minutes. So this is what's happening as a collective, and also just want to share the total actions, a bit of an update about what you've all done in terms of the challenge so far. So we've completed 98 calls or connects, 94 move for 30 minutes or less, or more, should I say, and 87 check-ins. Not surprising, we know the check-in is the most difficult action to do, but the collective impact of this group. So together, you've moved for over 4,000 minutes in the last 8 days. You've checked in for a combination of almost 1,200 mindful minutes. And 203 people in a community have benefited from a call or a connect. So there's 203 people outside of our group who each of you have called and checked in with over the last 8 days. So I just really want to acknowledge you all for that. So that's what's happening at a collective level. What I invite you to think about at an individual level. So in your mobile app, I don't know if anyone's had a chance to check out the weekly report. So in the mobile app, you receive a weekly report that's summarized and it's through left-hand navigation. You'll have a weekly report for all the energy levels that you recorded during the week. And it'll show your top three feelings that you recorded. So if you haven't had a chance to do so already, I encourage you to go there now and just, before you think about, is there anything you're noticing and you're reflecting, anything you're noticing about patterns and trends in your energy? Anything you're noticing? Let's stick with energy for a moment. Seamus, I invite you to share first. Seamus, if you noticed anything even about an insight about your energy in the last week, or even just the slowing down to do the check-in, is there anything you've noticed?
Well, Thursday seemed to have been a low day. The other days were pretty good, so I'm interested to see what happens next Thursday. See if there's something happening on Wednesday or Thursday is unique. So that's the only thing that jumps out at me right now. Thursday was a bit lower than the rest.
As you said, perfect. To be able to see if there are any patterns or trends around your energy on a Thursday. There's something that might be impacting your energy. And is there any, maybe are you overcommitting? So explore it with a gentle curiosity in the next week or so. Thanks, Seamus. Michael, is there anything you're noticing around maybe what you're feeling? Is there anything surprising in here around the top three feelings?
Surprising, no, as in there's a consistency. So, I mean, I can see, this idea of gratefulness comes through most days. Funny enough, I had also, let's say, a good check-in progress, except also for Thursday. So I don't know what happened there as well. Maybe that became too busy. Maybe my day was too busy. I need to have a look at that. But the rest of the days were fairly good. Okay,
thanks, Michael. Mindy, anything you noticed about even your energy levels or what you're feeling, or even the fact of doing it, the check-in? I know we've had a conversation in the community around it does feel effortful to do it. So anything you noticed, Mindy?
Yeah, like last week was my birthday. So my feelings were very on the positive, as were my energy levels. So I'm curious to see how this week kind of compares. And I did notice that, especially over the weekend, getting those 3 check-ins and making sure that I was moving and the connection wasn't too difficult because it was the birthday catch-ups kind of thing. But it was definitely more difficult to do the 3 check-ins than I anticipated. And a few nights it would be past midnight. I'd be like, oh no, I forgot the last one. So, but that was, it's great insight, because we think if we just do something repeatedly, it creates the habit, but it's actually doing and repeating and putting effort into that bit and not focusing so much on maybe that's not the right, I was going to say not focusing so much on creating the habit, but just going through the practice of making it a habit is, I think, what my focus this week will be about.
Brilliant. And happy birthday from all of us. We didn't even know. It turns us to acknowledge you for a happy birthday. But it's great, as you said, it is effortful, and we all think of excuses not to do it, but it help you, if you take it one day at a time, help you build that habit. Thanks, Mindy. Malia, can I invite you? Is anything you noticed about when you were slowing down, or the act of doing this recording and checking in? I invite you to share any insights. Do we still have Malia? Has she left us? Oh,
no, sorry, I was just on mute. I am really bad at actually putting my information into the app. I check in with myself like all the time throughout the day, you know. I'd be very aware, so I always notice if I have a change in mood and stuff like that, but I'm actually really bad at inputting into the app, so that's definitely something I need to improve on.
But it sounds like you're, as you say, self-aware, you've got the habit, and maybe the app might not be helpful, but it might be interesting to see, do you notice any patterns and trends over days, or anything that might impact energy or what you're feeling?
Yeah, I've noticed, all right, Friday, my energy seems to be down for some reason on a Friday. So maybe it could be because maybe all the meetings and stuff during the week, and I'm just wrecked by the time it comes to Friday. So it'll be interesting to check now next Friday what way my energy levels are.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Thanks. Thank you, Malia. Jada, can I invite you to share? Is anything that you notice either through the check-in, through the move, or the connect activity, like reaching out to connect with people? Did it feel, how did it feel when you were like trying to make the time to connect with other people intentionally?
So I, like Malia, wouldn't be so much attuned with like checking into the app, but I am quite aware of my emotional state throughout the day. But what the app has encouraged me to do is connect to more people, or be more mindful of my connections to people. And in doing that, I have noticed a pattern of the collective that this past week has been very, very difficult for people. Even in Galway, it's been very heavy. There's been the search and rescue helicopter out almost every day,
Wow.
from people going into the water. And there is this kind of very low energy, and I'm sure, like, you know, astrologically speaking, the waning moon energy is not helping anyone. The Mercury retrograde is not helping anyone. But also February can be very difficult for people. I think it's probably the most difficult month of the year. So for me, starting this challenge at this time of year is likely starting at a low point, whereas if I had started this challenge in the summer, I definitely would have been reporting more high moods, you know, better kind of even ability to get out and move. I also happened to I got a tattoo this 2 weeks ago, so I haven't been moving as much as I normally would have been, going like jumping into the Atlantic and stuff like that, because I have to, like, you know, heal this tattoo. So, you know, I think at a different time I would have been reporting better numbers, but I'm just mindful of that.
Thank you. But it sounds like through the connects, you've got to build awareness of the collective energy and how people are experiencing this time. So I think one maybe might be able to help you understand, create some more empathy with how, and give you a unique insight into how people are experiencing this time.
Oh, I am a sponge when it comes to other people's energy. So very often I have to ask myself, is this mine, or am I just absorbing this from other people? So yeah, it's definitely helping me be aware of that. And the connecting to people is very, very valuable.
Thanks, Jada.
Yeah.
Jennifer, can I invite you? Is there any reflections on the week, either through using the app or through being part of the February Wellness Initiative, or your own check-in, or your daily session you did on last Thursday?
Yeah, I think I kind of relate to Jada, as in
I feel like it was probably the least mindful week for me, where I was reporting on being mindful and doing a mindful morning. But the reason is because there's just been a lot of changes. So I was literally just in meetings and on the computer from like morning to the evening. And after moving house, like I kind of started this challenge being completely exhausted, not in a bad way, like I feel happy, but it's just, I was really aware of it. So I think it's kind of good because I will probably be only reporting better and better things over the time coming. But yeah, definitely relate, as in I'm just aware of the weather has been really awful. Like I would move every day, like I do all the things, but I feel like even if I'm doing all the bits, it's just this like exhausting winter energy. So I'm just really looking forward to spring coming along, to be honest. Like it's a long winter. And yeah, you can do your bits, but still you can't really change like what's happening around you. But what makes me more aware even of how important it is to like keep your habits intact and to do all those bits and to check in the morning. I'm the same, like I've been really trying really hard, but I'm still getting used to being disciplined with the app to kind of track, because I want to see like the results, but I do find it really challenging because I journal every evening. It's kind of a habit that I've been building up over months, but I know all these things take time. But all these little bits really help, I think, to keep your energy aligned, even if it's like, a bit of heavy energy coming from outside. So yeah, I just thought that was a bit funny actually, just starting, because I had it planned for so long, and then starting like my mindful practices when I'm actually being really overwhelmed and exhausted. I think it's been good for me to have the accountability, to be honest, and the checking in. And especially what came out of it is that my mom was on the call with me as well. And I've been like, planting seeds for so long. And she came to me the other day and she was like, let's just do like a check-in every day, or like she suddenly realized that it's important for her. So I'm gonna keep being disciplined with that, just checking in with her, because I do on a regular basis, but she's quite lonely. So it is really hard on people that are alone at the moment, because there's not really much outlets there and you can't really go out. It depends on how mobile you are as well, but just really grateful, to be honest. But what I've been reporting was like tired and exhausted. But also, so I think practices do help.
So, thank you, Jennifer, for sharing. And what I kind of hear there is that maybe being kind to yourself as well. Like that, I think we're all practitioners with great intention, but just know that we too need to put our own oxygen mask on first. But thanks, Jennifer. Before I hand to Stephen, the final part of our Connect exercise is, we talked about at the start of this challenge having a shared sense of purpose, and think about our individual actions can create collective impact. And I invite you to see how many actions and impacts can we create together. So before I hand to Stephen, I'm just going to go back and, sorry, a bit clunky, going to go back to this dashboard again and notice that if we're together in the first 8 days, we've done 279 actions. As I said, almost 2,000 minutes, mindful minutes, over 4,000 minutes moved, and 201 people. So what lofty and aspirational goals can we aim for as a community? How many actions do we think we could complete as a stretch goal? Does anyone want to put one out there? So we're, say, a week in. Could we go over 1,000 together? Who's
Yes.
Okay.
I'll say 1,200.
1,200. We're going once, going twice. Anyone want to raise 1,200? It's an auction, live auction. Mindy, the bid is into you at 1,200. Does anyone want to raise Mindy?
1,250.
1,250. We might need to recruit some more people. So is anyone okay? 1,250. Are we going to 1,250? We going once?
1,257.
Can we do 1,500? What's going to be stretched without making sure we get there? Stretched with achievable.
1300.
1300. Okay, Jennifer's go for 1300. Okay, sold to Jennifer for 1300. How many
That
mindful
was
minutes?
Malia, I think.
Oh, it was Malia.
Yeah.
Sorry, my apologies. Sorry, Malia. Thank you. Malia. 1300. How many mindful minutes can we do? If we're at 2000.
10,000.
10,000. Who said 10,000? That was
I did,
Jen-
Jetta, because
Jetta.
I've definitely been
Okay.
doing more than I've been reporting. So I just need to start
Okay.
reporting them.
Hmm.
Thank you. Minutes moved. We're at over 4,000. What can we get to? 20,000. I'm going to put 20,000 out there.
20,
Yeah.
50.
Yeah, I
Can we
agree.
do 20,000?
Yeah.
20,000 minutes moved.
Can we backtrack and report for the days
Yeah.
that have already passed?
Absolutely. Just go back into the days you haven't recorded, log them, and just add the minutes there.
Okay, cool.
And probably the big one, which is a selfless one, we call and connect. And as Jennifer said, how important it is for other people to maybe get a connection, and Jada shared as well that the sense of maybe people are needing connection at the moment. We're at 201. Could we do 1,000? Is that too much?
I don't know if I report all the ones I do. I'm kind of like just putting a number
Yeah.
on it.
So it says like call or connect with one person. It doesn't mean you can't do 2, 3, 4. Like being
Yeah.
on this call today, you probably each got like log 5 or 6. And they would think
is
you
that
think
how we're
about the
doing this?
pardon?
Is that how we're doing this? Because then we can definitely get over 1,000.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's like mindfully connect. We're like intentionally calling people. Like, and one of my friends called me there a while ago, going, "I'm just doing my connects now. I'm calling a few of our friends in the network, and so it's that little nudge to do it. So okay, well we put 1,000. We're going to 1,000 connects. Okay. Now I'm going to stop and hand to Stephen.
I'm glad I didn't miss Stephen now. What did I miss in the morning? Because I couldn't get in. I had to log in and for some reason couldn't get through.
You're on mute, Stephen.
We'd love to tell you, Jennifer, but you missed it.
It's
Just-
recorded.
The moment is gone. The moment is gone. We did a small connection, a small exercise, which is a very small ritual kind of between meetings kind of thing. So what I might do here maybe is just share this screen. And you might just tell me that you can see this nice lady. Okay, so this is a medicine wheel. Lots of indigenous community use it. This happens to be a Native American one. And just the idea is that it marks the passage of time, between morning, noontime, evening, nighttime, spring, summer, winter, autumn, birth, adulthood, old age, death, all those kind of cycles. And the reason I show it is that the girl in the middle is, centered and grounded. And she takes a decision to move into those different areas at the right time when she needs to. So the ritual is the stepping over, and the wheel is represented like this. They don't bleed into each other. There's, the stone walls between each time. So there's a conscious event to move from one to the other. Okay, and that's really ultimately what we use the rituals for, is to move from one event to another. Okay, so we know rituals, okay, and we see them, and typically they take place for things like rites of passage, so it's the first hunt, or boys and girls, particularly affects girls going through puberty. It's that ritual. It could be used for commemoration. It's anniversaries. It could be used for bonding. There's lots of things that we do to bond. And that could be getting drunk on a Friday, or it could be, going away together. It could be sharing experiences, training courses, or physical challenges, or whatever. And we bond with people. And sometimes the ritual is just to create space for stress relief. You know, we just want to get that bit of silence. and with that, you know, recentering. So there's lots of different uses for rituals. It's between meetings, it's big life events, weddings, communions, bar mitzvahs, confirmations, all this kind of thing. And the characteristics of ritual really are they tend to be, they don't have to be, they tend to be formulaic. You know, you do this. You know, a wedding looks like this, and there are certain things that are a part of it. Or in different families, Christmas Day looks like this. This is what we do. Okay. And traditional, they have their roots in the past. They're rule driven often. You know, you must do it this way. They use symbolism. You know, flags or, you know, different leaves represent different things, or different actions represent different things. And there's often an element of performance. So we don't attend the ritual, we participate in it. We're actively involved in doing the ritual. And it's a liminal time, it's transitional. It marks the passage of time from one event to another. And for that moment, we have a foot in both camps. We are attached and aware of the past. We are attached and committed to the future. And of course, we're watching both and holding both with balance and equanimity. Okay. Now, sorry, are there questions on that? Just that kind of the characteristics. Okay, so that kind of makes sense, right? Now, there's a downside to all that. Okay, so despite what we're saying, and I get what Ronan is saying, and I get what the app is about, and I get the idea of creating habits, there's a downside to a habit that a ritual counterbalances, if you like. So I know lots of people, you know, who go walking, but they forgot why they go walking. So actually what they do is they end up stewing on their walk about what happened that day and what's going on, who said what to who, and why didn't they this, and bastards, all of them, right? Hate them all, right? And they stew because they forgot that they started going for a walk to clear their head and to get away from doing that very thing. They went for a walk to clear their head. Or, you know, we take up exercise, or we take up, you know, ringing people. And it's great when there's an element of ritual to it. When it slips into being a habit, you know, my contention is that it loses its beauty and its authenticity. Ronan, I'm just ringing you to check in because, you know, it's 5:05 and the app just bleeped at me. How's it going? Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, okay. You know, that's different to, listen, man, do you have a few minutes? I just want to know how you are, right? That's ritualistic rather than habitual. So habits are great. I'm not knocking them at all, but the downside of them is they become just that. Or, you know, you have the family tradition, we do this at Christmas. So it's a pain in the arse now. Why do we do it? Oh, Granny liked it. Well, Granny hasn't been here for 20 years. And maybe, you know, it's time we created new traditions. Maybe these are actually shackling us rather than doing what they were supposed to do, which was to enable us. So you have to be very careful about the difference between a habit and a ritual. Does that resonate or make sense to people?
I really like that, Stephen. And I think something that comes to mind now is just, I was really thinking over Christmas that the Christmas is so slow because you don't have loads of places to be because everything was kind of closed. We were very fortunate that we could celebrate it with a close family, but that sense of rituals and habits, as in, why are you celebrating Christmas together? You know, if you're celebrating it at all, but what is it about? Rather than being stressed about how perfect the dinner needs to be, and we need to have this type of thing, and then you're stressing around, running all over the place to get everything perfect, and then by the time you're having the dinner, you're exhausted, rather than actually you're celebrating that time together because you're together. That's the whole point.
Because the original, you know, Christmas as we have it is the Thanksgiving dinner. That's, you know, and it was there to bring that community together. It wasn't there as a chore. It was to celebrate the fact that they had turkey, that they had fresh meat, that they had, you know, it wasn't supposed to be. And of course, the habit overtook the intent. The trappings overtook the intent. And often that would be a criticism leveled at institutions, whether they're businesses or churches or whatever, that the trappings of the ritual have now overtaken the intent of the ritual in the first place. Yeah, no, that's, you know, and we do it all the time, right? We meet people for coffee and then, you know, we're walking home. We think, what are we talking about? You know, it's the difference between, you know, a good shag and making love. It's the, you know, like one is a ritualistic and the other is a habit, right? It's just, and then it becomes a bad shag, right? That's what happens. And you don't get everything that's supposed to come with that act, okay? So one of the things about ritual then is move into what kind of, how do we make the best out of it? You know, so the first thing is there needs to be awareness. And again, the idea that sometimes, you know, habits lack that awareness. You know, we're doing our exercise, we're doing our monthly report, we're doing our whatever, and we forget why we're doing it. And nobody is aware. I have a friend of mine who works as an accountant, one of the big corporates, and literally half their day is producing a report that she knows literally nobody reads. 20 hours a week on a report because it became a habit. And it just became a thing that people do, but all the awareness has gone out of it. People don't check in and say, why are we doing this? So that seems like a small thing in many ways, but actually it's a really big thing, because when I get into this with people and I say, you know, Jennifer, what life are you living? Or Ronan, what life are you living? Oh, well, I decided, you know, 10 years ago, I want to be an accountant, or I want to be a coach, or I want to be a plumber, or I want to be whatever. Okay. Just, well, it's my job, you know. What are you doing now? Are you doing something that, you know, society wants you to do, or your parents or whatever? Are you doing something that the younger you thought would be a good thing? So it's the idea, you know, the uses of it is to check in on the bigger ticket stuff. Why am I an accountant? Why am I a plumber? Why am I a coach? Is this still serving me? So it's awareness. That's a big part of ritual, bringing awareness to what we're doing. And the ritual is about stepping out of what we're doing to bring the awareness back in, okay? And intent is a big part of it. Where am I now and what am I bringing to the next thing? Am I bringing the same energy to my plumbing business, my accountancy practice, as I did when I set it up? Is the intent still there? And in the small stuff, you know, as we did this morning, just letting go of the homeschooling and the breakfast and the dishes, and then what's my intent for the next hour? To engage, to listen, to learn, to be open to what comes up. Or am I going in saying, I know more than everybody else, or I can contribute more, or I'm going to make, you know, and narrowing then my willingness to embrace everything that is presented. So if you think of it as a ritual where you take a child in an indigenous community, or the hunter-gatherer kind of communities, and the child goes from being a child to being a hunter, you know, there's always a ritual to mark that transition. But the child knows broadly the landscape of what a hunt looks like. But they also know they're going in, A, to hunt, and B, to learn. So again, my intent is to step up, if you like, and to own what's going to happen. I'm going to be in the hunt, but I'm also going to have to learn how to do it safely, or, you know, it could go horribly wrong for me if I get the wrong side of a saber-toothed tiger, right? So the intent is, I'm not going in as a 7-year-old or an 8-year-old or a 10-year-old or whatever the age was, who's going to be carried by the tribe. I'm going in to contribute. And sometimes the contribution is, you know, you sit and listen, you make up the numbers. Sometimes the contribution is you actively you do a presentation, you do whatever. But the ritual brings intent in. A key element and a commitment to it is sacred space. And that's, you know, as I say to people, with a small s or a large s, you know, so you can set up your altar and you can smudge your room and you can do all this, or at Christmas you put up the decorations, or at Easter you do, you know, birthdays you put up. So you're saying this house is different to how it was yesterday because it's Mindy's birthday. And that's what we're focused on for you know, if it was my wife, it'd be a month, right? She's a birthday month. Okay. That's, you know, but you focus on, you know, this is what the house is for the next, you know, so my birthday actually was on Sunday. So it was a birthday weekend and the girls had the banners and all that. And that's what the whole theme of the weekend was. It was all about me. Yay. You know, so which is cool. So it's the idea of you create a space that says what's happening today or now or this week is different to what happened a week ago and will happen in another week. Doesn't mean it's better or worse. It is different. There's a different focus going on here. And ownership. What we're saying in a ritual is, I own this. I've made a decision to join the hunt, to grow up. I've made the decision to celebrate Christmas with my family. I've made the decision to go to college or to get a job or to be a plumber or an accountant. I'm owning what is happening. Not just physically, but emotionally and behaviorally. I'm owning the fact that I am going into this ritual to shed some behaviors and to take up others. So it's that transition again, and it's owning the transition. Now, whether that's giving up my thought about the last meeting or homeschooling or washing the dishes and being ready for, you know, this hour with this group of people, or whether it's a lifetime, you know, type, I'm going to stop being an accountant and become a plumber. You know, it's owning what I did before and the benefits of it and recognizing what needs to change to allow the new to come in. So like the picture at the beginning, it's the leaves falling off the tree to allow the new ones to come in. And it's recognizing the need for both. And rituals are timely. And this is really important. So it's almost like we need to link the ritual to what's happening around us. So, you know, Jennifer, you were talking about being tired. And so, you know, the ritual isn't about how do I grow my business this week? You know, and despite the fact that the energy is very heavy and that it's difficult and there's lockdown and there's astrological, you know, events happening and there's, you know, all that. No, the ritual may be, you know what, I'm going to own the fact that this time is calling for relaxation, sleep, introspection. And I'm going to create a ritual that gives me permission to do that. Now that's hard in the modern world when there are different, you know, there's also year-end calendars and there's, you know, businesses work 9 to 5 rather than the solar timing, if you like, all that kind of stuff. But it is important that they're timely in the sense that they're not conflicting with the great patterns of the seasons and of the years, but also they're timely in that we do them when they need to be done, which is the transition stage. So, you know, a ritual for me sometimes it is the celebration, but it's recognizing we're in that moment and we won't always be in that moment. You know, we're having Christmas dinner, it'll be different tomorrow. But sometimes it's saying, okay, am I ready for a transition? And what do I do to mark that occasion? And it's my contention, you know, if we were giving society and, you know, and myself marks out of 10, you know, for rituals, you know, as a society, probably 2 out of 10. Because we just don't engage with them anymore. Sure, we have weddings and birthdays and bar mitzvahs and whatever we do, but mostly, particularly in Ireland, they're piss-ups, right? We've forgotten the intent of them. We don't sit down with a 7 or 8 year old or 9-year-old and say, it's going to be different. This is what your communion is about, or this is your confirmation, or how you behaved in junior school is going to be different to how you need to behave in secondary school, or how you behave in secondary school is different to how you need to behave in college or work, or how you behave as a staff member is different now you're a supervisor. We don't have a ritual around that. It's well done, Michael, you got promoted, that's your desk on Monday. Oh, okay, great, more money, you know, or these days, less money, more work, right? It's like the same money. But, you know, we don't sit down and say, let's help Michael move from being a staff member to a supervisor or a manager? What do we need to help them give up to move to the next thing, and to own the fact that now he's going to be the boss of guys he was, drinking pints with on Friday night? How do we help that? And we don't do it anywhere enough on the big issues and on the small issues. And interesting, again, COVID is suggesting to us that we do it and inviting us. Because what she's saying is, and a lot of companies are doing it, you stop your Zoom meetings at 5 to the hour or 10 to allow people to take a break. So the invitation actually is, the physicality is there. The invitation is for me then, with that 5 minutes, instead of going for coffee or a smoke, to go, okay, that meeting is over. How do I prepare for the next meeting? And that transition brings us fully present into what we're doing, as opposed to physically turning up because the habit is, I've got a new meeting. And that's the difference between ritual and habit, if you like. Awareness, intention, commitment, celebration. Isn't it great? I can move from this to this, whether it's a physical move or an emotional move, a mindset move, a behavioral move. And what that enables us to do is come back to this girl. We sit in life centered and balanced, and we decide and we recognize when we move from what we're good at in the morning to having lunch to what we're good at in the afternoon. We're recognizing, I don't have energy now. What do I do about that? Fight it or go with that? Put this off to later. And sometimes we can do that, sometimes we can't. Then we just accept we're making a compromise. We're fighting against forces that we can't control, and sometimes we just have to do it. But then when we're in it, the ritual is to get out of it. So the ritual brings us in and out again. Yeah, does that make sense? It allows us to not get lost in the meeting, in the relationship, in the behavior, because we've navigated our way in, and that gives us our way out again. If that makes sense, yeah. And that's the key to it, the good use of rituals. It brings us in and it shows us the pathway out so we don't get lost in it. Yeah. Okay, sorry, I will shut up now. Is there any questions on that? I'm very conscious of time.
Sorry guys, I got to jump out, but just a thought. I kind of relate these ritual things to passages,
yeah.
This idea of the transition. And so when I coach people, I use that a lot, and I find that quite helpful in the idea of this movement idea.
They're very often rites of passage. Yeah, absolutely. And it's from one thing to the next. And it is holding both what happened before and what's going to come next. Exactly. And being aware of both. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, gotta go. Take care. Lovely.
Good to see you, Michael.
Intensive.
Cheers.
Thanks a lot. Cheers. Bye-bye.
And
Mindy,
oh, so we're getting kicked out, Mindy. Sorry.
We are, yeah. I just got a lovely message. Everyone's holding their coffee for the coffee and networking, just waiting. So hate to wrap this up so quickly, but Ronan or Stephen, do you want any last words before you really get kicked out?
No, thanks for your time. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks so much, Stephen.
Yes, thank you. That's
welcome.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go and enjoy your coffee.
Thank you.
See you in Slack.
Thanks.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.